Hello and welcome to the News9 Plus show on the world's first news and current affairs OTT platform, News9 Plus. Laying down your life for the country is the supreme sacrifice a soldier can make. This cannot be compensated in monetary terms, but the family members of a fallen soldier need support of the country and people, and it's our duty to ensure that their future is secured. But in recent times, controversy has broken out on who will receive benefits. The cases reported are typically where the wife of a fallen soldier has differences with the parents or siblings. A soldier's parents or guardians are listed as NOK or next of kin when he enlists in the army. According to army rules, when a cadet or officer gets married, their spouse's name is listed as their NOK rather than their parents. Now, the rules say that the ex gratia amount is given to the NOK if something happens to an individual while in service. In this context, conflicts are emerging within families and questions are being raised on whether the benefits should be given to a sole member or shared among family members. Will the government try to find a middle path to ensure that life laid down in the service of the nation doesn't strike a discord within the family of the fallen soldier? Joining me to discuss this evening are Lieutenant General Rakesh Sharma, former Adjutant General of the Indian Army, and my colleague in the studio here with me, Flight Lieutenant Samar Singh, who served in the Indian Air Force with distinction. He's a Kargil veteran. He joins me this evening. Gentlemen, welcome to the News9 Plus show. General Sharma, over to you first. A very contentious issue here, next of kin. Is there a requirement to modify the NOK rules as they're laid down in the Army Act?
First, I salute the valor of Captain Anshuman, who laid down, and Dr. Anshuman also, who laid down his life, the glacier, such kind of valor that we have seen. And heartiest condolences to the families, the parents, and the wife who have to suffer the life thereafter. Now, to ask that question, I think this is not the first officer who has laid down his life and the battle casualty. We have this round the year for the last 30 years. So to say that there are no systems existing and the government should interfere and for every single issue we create a controversy, I think it's not right. We should be prudent in handling such issues, especially in relationship in such kind of relationships. Yeah. Now, having said that, my own new views may be dated because I retired 7, 8 years ago and the policy may have changed. But let me put some facts on ground. The insurance, which is the largest amount, is bulk, which is under the Army Group Insurance Fund, which is 1 crore for officers, is divided invariably equally among the mother and the wife. In this case also it has been done. 50 lakhs was given to the mother on 31st of August, I'm told, and also 50 lakhs were given to the wife. So that's one part of the issue. Second is the balance of emoluments. Now, the Provident Fund. As you rightly pointed out, the Provident Fund, the officer needs to nominate. There's a nomination issue. You can nominate Provident Fund 50-50, 30-70, or whatever he wishes to do so. So, Provident Fund is as per the nomination that the officer has given, and so is the other many emoluments which officers has nominated. And that nomination stands up hereafter. I am not very sure in the particular case the Provident Fund has gone to the mother or the wife, because I do not know what has been endorsed in the Provident Fund documents of the office. Since they were married for only 5 months, it's well nigh possible that he has not been able to change the Provident Fund and it could go to his parents still. So I am not venturing a guess into where the money has gone. Then there are issues about death come retirement gratuity and many other emoluments which are divisible, and it can be divided as per retirement, as per requirement, and as per rulings laid down. The rulings are not laid down by the Army Act. The rulings on pensions and all other issues are laid down by the DOPT and a department under the DOP called Department of Pension and Pension Grievances. And anybody who's aggrieved can put his or her request in the Prime Minister's portal, which deals with this issue, on which actions are taken immediately. So that the system exists on this issue here. Then the state governments, depending on which state government has got how much funds and what they are wanting to give, gives out some funds. In this particular case, I'm told UP government did give 50 lakhs, of which, again, I'm not very sure, but my knowledge is 15 lakhs were given to the mother and 35 lakhs were given to the wife. Now, all this is all about emoluments. The basic question comes in the pension. Now, the pension takes quite some time. The pensions are very varied affairs. There are ordinary pensions, there is special pension, there is liberal pension. Since this is a battle casualty, it requires the battle casualty to be declared as battle casualty by the government of India. It goes to a procedural system for declaration. So initial pension will be ordinary pension given to the lady. And ordinary pension, as you're aware, is 30%. So, she will be getting a family pension of 30% of the emoluments drawn by the officer at the time of his demise. And subsequently, when the battle casualty declared, she could get 60% or 100%. Now, there may be a issue here as to whether pension is divisible. I'm not very sure of the latest orders on the subject, but there was a Supreme Court ruling given out by a two-judge bench in 2016. That's my time when I was in chair. If I'm correctly, and Justice Dave and Justice Nageshwar Rao, in which they had overturned a ruling given by the Punjab and High Court, which had divided the pension into two parts. And they said that while all other assets are divisible among the other claimants, pension is a right of the lady, of the widow, or the widower, and that should be given as such. So last I know, this Supreme Court ruling stands, and this was a two-judge bench. So it becomes the kind of authority to follow till the time legislature decides to overrule the Supreme Court ruling and devises something else. So as it stands, the pension is the right of the lady, as per my information of what I know from 2016 onwards. And this thing doesn't seem to have been revised because it's not in the news media you have followed. So that's a broad policy on the issue here. It's to say that the parents have not got anything is not right. I think that is generically said.
Right.
But as you know, and I finish here, the Army Group Insurance Fund is absolutely clear, and they do strict work. On 31st of August, they had given 50 lakhs to the mother.
General Sharma, thank you for illuminating those questions that we had on the pensions and especially the compensation that's given to our fallen soldiers. But in this case, Captain Anshuman Singh's parents have asked a very specific request to the Defence Minister. They said that the NOK rules, the next of kin rules, which refer to a person's spouse and relatives, that needs to be modified to include the parents. Do you think there is need to do that, or is the system good as it stands today?
Look, no system can satisfy anybody or everybody.
Right.
You make a rule like this, the spouse could be in 50s, and the parents would still be alive. And the spouse is in 50s, they could be having 2 kids also. Right. So the kids have also got entitlement. This is not a simplicity. We are referring to a case in which the lady is young, just been married. And, then the rules are also applicable across the board to the entire government here. They are not specific rules for the armed forces here. The rules are made by the pensions and pension given to the DOPT. So while we can say Ministry of Defence should work with it, but these are, and there are a whole lot of court cases on these issues, on and on, all over India, on division of money that is allowed to them.
Right.
I think we should be prudent in making hasty judgments and say what should be done or should not be done, because these are very singular, difficult matters, and they need to be resolved into great amount of prudence.
Absolutely, great amount of prudence. And I want to bring in my colleague Samar Singh, who's been listening to us very quietly. But Samar, you're a Kargil veteran, and Kargil was literally the first war where you saw a large amount of compensations given to our fallen soldiers. I mean, the extraordinary war, the kind of courage that our soldiers have displayed, over 500 battle casualties.
Yes,
but that was also the first time that you had families receiving very large amounts of compensations, and there were a lot of complaints at that time where wives of fallen soldiers were not given their benefits. Just tell us what that thing was like back in 25 years back.
Absolutely. Sandeep, it was not only in Kargil. In fact, we have been listening to stories of 1971 war as well.
Right.
Because we have seen many cases in our family and close friends also. In Kargil, yes, after a gap of say more than 30 years, we saw it again.
Yes.
These kind of cases have been coming up in between. And after Kargil also they have been coming up. But yes, there was a case of more than 500 deaths.
Right.
And first time probably media coverage was at such a large scale.
The media spotlight was
Yes,
on the
that was on.
conflict. And
Now my question is, and I'm still confused, why after so many years of almost a quarter of decade,
yes.
why we are not able to solve such a critical thing wherein the reputation of army is at stake.
Right.
These are quite sensitive matters
Yes.
when we talk about Indian population, because we are very emotional and sensitive about when we talk about army or
Yes.
army casualties.
Yes.
Things are legally, maybe they might be clear legally
Right.
to legal experts, but when we talk about soldiers,
Yes.
more than 75% of casualties are of the people who are below 30 years of age.
Yes.
When they die, they leave behind almost illiterate or semi-illiterate parents
Right.
and young widows.
Yes.
It is very difficult to go in all the corners of India in small villages
Yes.
and talk to these guys
Right.
and to ascertain that everything is sorted.
Yes.
It is very difficult. It may not be an easy solution, but we cannot say that it is impossible. This should have been sorted. There should have been tribunals formed or some kind of committees formed who should have people who should have erased these kind of complaints
Right.
for future.
Right. Let's just important point there, Sama, that you raised, that complaints, of course, as General Sharma said, you cannot satisfy everyone. But General Sharma, you also received a number of such cases when you were the Adjutant General of the Indian Army. How did you resolve it? What were the bulk of the cases of the compensation and how it was to be divided among parents and the wives, the spouses of our fallen soldiers? What were the cases like?
So, firstly, what the Flight Lieutenant said, it's not Army alone, it's equally applicable to Air Force and the Navy. So, let's not take Army as isolate them out as if they are singular people.
Yes.
It is similarly for the others. Now, having said that, to say that there are no systems, I think this is absolutely wrong. In 71 war is a different issue when there was no insurance in the government of India.
Yes.
That's why the Army, Navy and the Air Force decided to make their own insurance companies, agencies, and in 1976-78, and they established their own insurance departments. And it is because the insurance companies refused to insure war or wartime like incidents.
Right.
So after that, there is a system. If we are dividing insurance immediately, which is within the army. I mean, firstly, that's our own money. The government has nothing to do with this. So talk about government money separately. Our own money is absolutely divisible and given out within 7 to 10 days or within a month to the mother and to the wife. So there is one part of the story gone, which is 50 lakhs in this case for both the
Yes.
people. Let's say it's not a small sum. Second is the issue of pension. Now see, the pensions are a different matter altogether. Pensions are as and any other government funds that you get are actually government funds, and those are government orders. When I was handling the issue, I cannot devise my own orders.
Yes.
The order, the pension is a regulation. Pensions are, regular meetings held on pension issues with various people. People put complaints on pension in the Pragati portal, which belongs to the Prime Minister's office, for which we have to reply back within 6 weeks. So all complaints of pensions are held within 6 weeks in the Pragati portal of the Prime Minister. And they are serious issues here. As per rules, you just cannot deviate, because finally it is a lot authorized by Government of India, the Ministry of Defence Finance, and of PCDA pension. So PCDA pension, everybody reads the government rules laid down. And you say that the government rules have not been devised with great amount of sense and understanding and through legal provisions. That is not right. I think that's granted to the government that they have worked on it in sufficient amount of detail. Now, if you say that the pension, the only thing is issue is pension. All other properties that a man could have,
Yes.
like the properties are divisible. They can go to They are divided and it mutually decided, okay, he has a car, he has a house. All these are divisible issues. We are talking, and the court ruling says so, that other than the pension, everything else is divisible. But the pension, they say, is not divisible. It is goes to the spouse, which is a widow and the widower. How much has been divided, in this particular case, we do not know. I can get a card, every time it happens, before the lady goes for the award in the Rashtrapati Bhavan, the total entitlement to the lady and the parents are worked out and available with the army. You can check with the army as to give you what are the entitlements given to each one of them. Like, for example, it's possible that the provident fund he had nomination of the mother and would have gone totally to the mother and nothing to the wife. It's all possible, and such things happen. Let's grant it to those people that they are people, men in uniform of wisdom, who are seized of the matter, and to say that things are being delayed is absolutely wrong. It's full-time work on a battle casualty within the departments to make sure that the money is given, the AWA funds, the for the cremation, everything works as clockwork. We can understand. We used to have 200 battle casualties a year.
Yes.
Is it one casualty? It's a routine issue. And for last 30, 40 years, we have been going through this thing. It's not Kargil alone. What about from 1990 onwards?
Right.
And right till date? So, we have thousands of people who have passed away. And, is there a mass movement saying that we are not doing justice? I think we should not exaggerate issues here.
No, absolutely. And, thank you for clearing the air on that one, General Sharma. The fact is that, at the end of the day, Samar, we must admit to the fact that India looks after its veterans in a way that no other country possibly
Absolutely.
on earth does so. Because, in the US, General Sharma, you've traveled that, you've seen this yourself. You have homeless veterans. You have this very horrible thing of, homeless veterans. Whereas I don't think that's ever happened in India, that the system,
We have veterans directorates, we have a
Yes.
veteran directorate, and the Air Force and the Army and the fantastic veteran directorate do very good work on their own into getting. In fact, in our veteran directorate, there is a widows cell which
Yes.
is manned by widows. There are 10, 12 of them who are only listening to widows' complaints all over India, and there is a call center type established in this thing for widows. So, to say that the serving establishment is not doing is not right.
It's not right, but then there are, as you said, you cannot satisfy everyone. There would always be complaints, and especially in this case, it's a very emotive issue. Your parents have lost a child, a wife has lost her husband, and the circumstances of this, the bravery that's involved. It's the only force, possibly the armed forces, which call on a soldier to lay down their lives in the line of duty. No other government service, does that, and that explains the sentiments that are attached to this. Price on a soldier's life cannot be put. It's absolutely beyond us to do that. But for the soldiers who do so, it is for the government to look after their families as best as they can. Thank you very much, General Sharma, for joining us this evening, and my colleague Samar Singh.